So, in the last week or so, I've had quite a few people expressing confusion over what it is I tell people on my channel. And they tell me that they don't understand the things I say in terms of who we truly are and what I think God is, and overall what the entire point of all this information I convey is. So I wanted to make today's video to try and clarify things as best as I could. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want to clarify is what I mean when I say that everything is awareness and everything happens through you, right? You are the universe experiencing itself. What do I mean by this? Okay, I'm going to try and draw it to make the most sense of it. Essentially, that is my best way of drawing what I mean when I say that everything is awareness. Everything is just awareness experiencing itself in different forms. You are the universe experiencing itself through your unique perspective. Yeah, this is what that means. Okay, what you've got here is you've got two people that appear to be separate looking at each other, right? But what that truly is the same thing looking at itself through different points of perspective. Okay, awareness is everything. Nothing exists outside of awareness. Like anything that you can think of or perceive or imagine, anything that you can materialize, whether it's physical or mental, right? Anything that you can form only exists because you're aware of it, right? It only exists because you're aware of it. It's like trying to imagine a new color. Like you can't describe a new color. You can't do that. It's the same with awareness. It's like everything exists within the awareness of that thing, right? And you might say like, oh, someone's aware of something right now that I'm not aware of, so it has to exist. And it's like, yes, it does exist from within that person's awareness, because all awareness is the same thing. It's the same one awareness. There's no separate awareness. There's separate perspectives of the same awareness, but it's all the same awareness. It all exists within the awareness of that thing. And I keep getting people like I keep getting people who question it, who can't make sense of it, and it's not very complicated to make sense of. The only reason people get confused in making sense of it is because they attach awareness to their unique perspective, and they think that their unique perspective is inferior or superior to everyone else's, and therefore they can't make sense of this universal awareness idea. But this is what it looks like. It's all the same awareness. It's just being experienced from different local points. And it's the same with like inanimate objects, right? Like a tree or a rock or whatever it is. That object is awareness being expressed through different patterns in different ways to then form that rock. It's like you can all agree, you can agree with another person that something looks the same, right? And that's because you are both a fractal of that awareness, being able to experience the same consistent patterns of that awareness. That's why you can both stare at a rock and agree that it looks like a rock. It's because you're both experiencing the same awareness of that rock being experienced in its pattern, in its own unique pattern. Like you and me are also patterns of awareness. We're just more complex. That's why we're conscious, right? But a rock isn't as complex because it's not conscious. It's not alive. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't think. It's just a more stagnant pattern of awareness being expressed, right? But it's still awareness. It's just a different pattern of awareness. So me and you are more complex. This is another thing that I wanted to touch on, by the way. You know how religions, right? The reason I can't get behind any religion, and I've had people tell me that I need to find God and that what I'm saying is blasphemy and whatever. The reason I cannot get behind religion is because, first of all, it contradicts itself by saying God is omnipresent and then saying that God is outside of, or saying that like we need God to be saved. How is God omnipresent if we need him to be saved? Does that not mean we are God? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that religion, the entire agenda behind religion, and I will die on this hill, the entire agenda behind religion is to externalize, our power and cause separation. Externalizing our power is obvious. We're told that we're born into sin, and we're told that the only way we can find peace in the afterlife is if we live a life that we are told to live by whatever religion you follow, right? Mainly the Abrahamic ones. But it's all the same thing. It's being told that you cannot find peace. You'll be sentenced to eternal damnation if you do not do X, Y, Z. And what does that do? It externalizes your power. It's like you're giving up the reins of like to the horse. You're giving up the steering wheel to some other entity. And that doesn't make any sense because we are fragments of God. God is the awareness that's created everything within the universe, including us. So we are God. Everything is God. Everything is God experiencing itself. God is just another word for awareness. It's like they've taken this idea of this universal consciousness and they've turned it into a separate entity from who we are. And we're told we're born into sin and we need to repent and live like XYZ in order to then find peace in the afterlife, as if our life is like not even worth living. It's all about what happens after we die. It's like it's indoctrination, and I don't care how many people tell me that I'm wrong and this and that. The majority of people who can't accept this information only can't accept this information because they were born into a religious family and they've grown up with religion and it's all they've ever known. They've never been pushed to consider other alternative truths. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah, so if you're religious, I know this is a difficult perspective to subscribe to, but I mean, just consider it. Like, I'm not trying to like disrespect your religion. I'm not trying to do that. That's not my point. My point is that there's no harm in considering other alternatives, and there's no harm in taking a step outside of your conventional perspective and viewing it from a different angle. There's no harm in that. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to touch on is, what is the point of all this information, right? What is the point of trying to understand that everything is awareness and we are God, right? What is the point of trying to understand that? Well, essentially, it's this. So the human body emits an electromagnetic field from our heart. This is a known fact. Everyone knows this, yeah? Electromagnetic field comes out from the heart, and the strength of that electromagnetic field is determined by your actions and how you take care of yourself and your perspective on life. So if you're trapped in lustful behavior, for example, your electromagnetic field being emitted isn't going to be as vibrant and positive, because lust is a low vibrational frequency like reality to take part in, right? It's like lust is a low frequency, right? Lust moves very slowly, it's very heavy. That's why you feel low and like shit when you engage in lustful behavior. It's simple. Whereas if you have frequencies like joy or happiness or peace or abundance, it vibrates very quickly, right? It moves very quickly, right? It's very light, it's not heavy. Therefore, your electromagnetic field becomes more vibrant and lighter and more attractive when other people interact with you, because your electromagnetic field is then cast onto them and it feels good. It's like when you're just around a person and you just feel good around that person. Like, they're not even doing anything specific, they're just nice to be around. That's usually because their electromagnetic field is more positive, more vibrant, more uplifting, right? So what's the significance of this in terms of understanding that everything is awareness and you are God and da-da-da? Well, so your electromagnetic field is actually, it's what you can use to like pull a specific reality into you for you to then live that reality, right? Essentially, what our power is, our superpower as humans, is that we have the ability to think whatever we want. We have free will, not just physically, but in our thoughts. We can literally imagine anything that exists within awareness of that thing. Anything, right? This includes imagining a better life for yourself, right? It includes sitting down and almost like reverse engineering your desired life. Okay, what does it look like? What people do I associate myself with? Where am I? What's my daily routine? How do I feel when I'm living this desired life? All these things, you have the ability to imagine that. And then once you imagine that, right? Because it starts in the brain, it starts in the head, right? You then need to bring that thought down and you need to feel it. You need to feel it. You need to understand what it is, and then you need to feel it. You need to understand how it feels. And only then, right, will your heart begin to emit an electromagnetic frequency in the electromagnetic field that is from the reality that you've imagined, right? So you imagine this reality, you imagine feeling the abundance, the love, the peace, the joy, the connection. Your heart then begins to emit those frequencies that you've created in your head. And in turn, those frequencies or that reality is then pulled towards you because your electromagnetic field is like a magnet. Do you understand? So, in other words, let me put it this way, right? Your thoughts are vibrations, right? Or your thoughts and emotions are vibrations, right? Then those vibrations, if felt consistently, become frequencies or a frequency, right? So you think something in your brain and you feel it. The thought is the vibration. A consistent vibration becomes a vibrational frequency. It's frequently vibrating on that level. And then this frequency is what's going to determine what reality you live on, right? The vibrational frequency of you when you are living in abundance is different from the vibrational frequency of you when you're living in lack. Therefore, if you can vibrate on a frequency that is abundant and loving and peaceful and joyful and all these good things, your reality will then reflect those things because they're being pulled into your electromagnetic field, which is you and your reality. That's what it is.